if you're a fan of BMW's designs up until the mid-2000s or something like that, and you feel like BMW's gone off the rails when it comes to some of their exterior designs, just like I think they have, then this video is going to be very, very good news for you, because BMW, they're switching up their entire design team, and they're taking in people that I have been a massive fan of for a very long time into the leadership of the BMW design departments. So we're going to go through this article, and I think you're going to be happy by the end of it. But it still remains to see how these new people are actually going to change the direction that BMW has been going for the last, I would say, 10 years with their designs. It's just all over the place. So this is an article from Car Scoops, and I'm going to link this full article down in the description if you want to go and check this out. BMW shakes up design team. Polestar's Missoni takes charge. So the boss, the chief designer from Polestar, one of the cleanest looking cars out there on the roads today. They do look a little bit like more towards product design than automotive design, but the line flow, the proportions, the graphics specifically, that is the key point that I think BMW has massive issues with. The key graphics, the headlight, the grille, and how everything comes together. That is my main problem with BMWs these days. So bringing in Missoni from Polestar, I think, is going to be a massive, massive change here for BMW, hopefully. I mean, it remains to see what they're going to come out with after this. Yeah, I have some concerns about this as well. I'm going to talk about that at the end of this video. So BMW is revamping its design team, bringing in new talents to refresh its styling direction. The overhaul brings a new focus on cleaner, simpler design. And I'm not sure exactly what that means. It could mean good things, or it could mean some concerning things. Again, I'm going to talk about that at the end of this video. It's hard to pinpoint where BMW's current lineup controversy began, they say here in Car Scoop. But I think it started with the 3 Series, or maybe, yeah, I think the 3 Series. It was a little bit weird with the E65 series of Bangle era, but Bangle, they talk about Bangle here in a minute as well. I think Bangle had at least an idea. He had the flame surfacing that he wanted to bring into BMW, and I think some of the cars that Bangle made was phenomenal, and some were just very strange. The E65, for example. I'm gonna have a look at that in Photoshop in a minute. But I think it started maybe around 2015 or something like that for BMW, where they started to go off track. And I've showed this before, how every single front face of a BMW these days has a completely different face. There is no red line through the design DNA of BMW right now. And that is hopefully what they're going to address here with the new team and fix. So BMW's group head of design, Adrian von Hooydonk, remains in charge. Larger changes are to be applied to the various subdivisions under him. So Maximilian Missoni be appointed head of design for the upper middle class, meaning 3 Series and upwards. I think that will be the majority of BMWs these days. Luxury class and also the Alpina models. This move introduces fresh blood to BMW's design team. Of course, Missoni is currently listed as a head of Polestar design, which is a position he's been at since 2018. Missoni is credited with creating the sleek design language seen within the Volvo spin-off brand. Before Polestar, he served as the vice president of exterior design at Volvo. That is also very, very exciting to me, because Volvo these days, since the new S90 and the V90 cross country and the S60, sadly S60 has died off here in the United States after 2024 model year, but all those models just have this clean Scandinavian style to them that I feel is the complete opposite to what BMW has been doing. And again, I come back to the graphics. If you just look at Volvo's graphics and compare that to the line flow and where everything sits, specifically in the front end, but also in the rear, Volvo and Polestar are just on point with the graphics. So again, bringing this person in to BMW, I do think is going to be a good idea. Now, Dukic, who currently heads BMW Design Studio, is transitioning to BMW-owned Rolls-Royce. So I don't know if this means we're gonna get big grills, weird-looking graphics on future Rolls-Royces, but I don't really care. I'm just glad to see some changes to one of my favorite brands growing up, BMW, that had this confident face that is sort of lacking today. So including bespoke and coach build, Dukic has been unapologetic in his big grilled design direction for BMW, while acknowledging the flack that he and the brand have caught. The BMW design chief has likened the current era of BMW's designs to Chris Bangle era, meaning controversial at the time, but now looked upon fondly. And this is something that I think he might be a little bit confused here, because if you look, as I said earlier, when Bangle was in charge of BMW, he had an idea and he had a vision for where he wanted to take BMW as a brand across the entire lineup, to have the same flame surfacing across the entire lineup. And the E65, not my favorite 7 Series of all time, but it turned out to be the best-selling 7 Series of all time. So people clearly appreciated the design. And the Bangle butt also grew on them. We have it in the 7 Series. We also have it in the 6 Series. So you have a continuation, a red line with the design DNA of the Bangle era. And that is something that is missing today under Dukic. And even though we do have these big grills in the front end, if we're going to put big grills on BMWs, we need to have it across the entire lineup and also have a line flow in the design. That was something that Bangle was really big on with the flame surfacing design language, which essentially means to have huge surfaces and concave and convex surfaces and lines through those surfaces, a couple of key sharp lines. Think first generation BMW Z4, for example. We also have Oliver Hailmer, currently head of design of Mini, will now oversee the sketching of BMW's compact and mid-size BMWs going forward. Think that's a good idea. BMW, Mini has done some cool designs lately. As well, he will also be in charge of BMW's M division and those designs. Additional changes include Anders Warming, one of my favorite designers of all time. I do believe he worked at BMW Design Works back in the day, and he sketched up these sketches for the Z4 with the flame surfacing, and it took inspiration from old vintage BMWs, and also created this Mille Miglia concept, which again included old vintage, almost sturdy styling with modern flame surfacing. It is such a beautiful concept. So Anders Warming, formerly head of design at Rolls-Royce, will now oversee all advanced design topics and the BMW Group Design Works subsidiary. So I guess he's still at maybe he's going back to BMW Design Works here. Then you have Claudia Brown will lead the newly created cross-brand department for color and material designs across BMW, Mini, and Rolls-Royce cars. She brings experience from Porsche, Daimler, and Volvo cars. If you think about Porsches, Volvo's interiors, we have the same feeling or vibe that we have for the exteriors. Simplistic design with very clean graphics. So hopefully the interiors, I just wish BMW would ditch these two big screens that they have up on the panels on the dash right now and just go back to a housing with a digital gauge cluster and a separated screen in the center. It is just such a more user-friendly design, and it's also such a much more beautiful design. So there you have it, a redesign of the design team. BMW's approach seems to be, when in doubt, shuffle the deck. If this move results in fewer design choices that makes enthusiasts question their own life's choices, then maybe, just maybe, the Bavarians are onto something. So this remains to be seen what we're going to get now from BMW moving forward with this sort of all-star team of designers, and I can't wait to see what they're going to cook up moving forward with these designs. I want to show you this, because this is the Bangle 7 Series here down low, and up top we do have Dukic era 7 Series, and the problems I have with BMWs today, it's all about the graphics. As I said, I'm not a huge fan of the E65 down low right here. I think it looks very strange, specifically with these tear drops that we have going down here in the design, just dipping down like this. I do prefer the facelifted version, because this angle here, you see how this angle of the end point of the headlight has no connection to the grille here, the side of the grille. They are two completely different angles. If we draw out these lines, they're not going to have any sort of connection to anything. In the facelifted version, they created this line for the headlight, now going in this angle, and now we have two parallel lines here that has a much more clear connection to what's going on in the front end graphics. But if we look at the positioning of the graphics here, you have the grill and the headlights sitting in the same sort of line here in the front end, and we have a clear separation with the bumpers, and then we have a lower intake in the lower section down here. While in the new BMWs, pretty much every single BMW have they have this problem. Look at the daytime run light up top here. A rectangle up top, a tilted rectangle. Then we have another rectangle down here for the headlight unit, and this now also has a rounded corner in this area, but that's pretty much the only rounded corner it has. And it doesn't have these features. The daytime light, the headlight, and the grille, they have nothing in common. They don't have any sort of connection to each other whatsoever. The angle for the lower section, the headlight, and the angle up top here for the daytime run light, and then you have the angles. On top of that, we have an opening down here that now becomes fluid and has a lot of curvatures to it. So it's all over the place when it comes to the graphics of BMW, and that is why I think Bangle at least had an idea with the flame surfacing that I wanted to introduce across the entire lineup. And the current BMWs, I feel like there is a completely new design team for every single model that they put out, and there is no connection between the lineup. So we'll see what happens with this design change to the entire BMW design team. I'm excited for it. I think BMW needs it. My only concern, as I talked about in the beginning, my only concern would be that we move even more towards industrial design and product design. We've sort of seen that being hinted with this new there is this BMW concept, a two-door that looks like a consumer electronics product. It's not out yet. We've seen some spy photos of it, and we also see that with Polestar getting a little bit too simplistic. We don't have the hand sketch lines anymore in the designs, and that is something that I don't want to see for BMW. I still want to have hand sketched lines for BMW cars and still have this emotional automotive feel, meaning that when you look at a BMW, you want to see that confidence in the car. That is what BMW has always been to me, and that is what I hope BMW is going to go back to.